Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to put your social media on autopilot in less than 4 hours. What's going on, guys? So before we get into the video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that might or might not make sense to you. That's because a lot of the stuff I'm talking about in this video is really the sum of everything I've taught you in the previous video. So if you haven't watched anything about jumpstarting your social media platforms in regards to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything, the different scheduling platforms, creating a caption library, using our content strategy, I strongly recommend you watch those series of videos before you come back to this. The way this video is going to work is in two parts. I'm going to explain to you how everything's going to go, and then the second part is us actually going onto the screen and actually executing everything I talk about. So let's get right onto it. Alright, so the first things you need before we start doing all this is first you need to have your social media strategy put together. That means you have to have audited all your platforms from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, finding out your best types of content that works. And if you don't have anything and you're starting from scratch, forget everything. Forget that I just said that. But if you've been doing this for a while, you should have a good. You should review the data to get an idea of what type of content is working. The strategy overall is also going to give you guidance in how to stand out from your competition, what types of things you should add in the captions, the type of content that's working. So the next thing that you need to have is having a content library, or at least a set amount of pictures that you want to put out there. At least 12 photos or videos, or 12 photos and 12 videos, up to you how you want to do it, but make sure you have some sort of content ready to go. You don't want to be trying to look for content and trying to schedule at the same time. Make sure that the content is ready to go, so you just focus on scheduling. And then the third thing is obviously having a scheduling platform. So use Hootsuite, Later, Buffer, Sendable, or Meet Edgar. It's up to you. Just make sure you have an account that you can schedule on. Alright, so the last setup item, and I think it's more optional than required, is a caption library. If you watched a previous video on creating a Twitter caption library, considering that Twitter has the most limited amount of characters, it would make sense to create captions according to that limitation, and because then it gives you flexibility to post everywhere else. And as long as your captions still have a narrative, it tells a story, and it captures people's attention, you're good to go. The reason I would like for you guys to have a caption library is to really save you time. It's going to help save your energy in terms of having to write new captions for every single photo or video. And there might be some cases where you just want to write it from scratch, and then sometimes there's photos and videos where you just completely have nothing and you're kind of hitting a wall.
How to start? I'm hungry. Coffee and a muffin. Okay. So I need to establish the themes. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
Which is why the caption library is kind of is your failsafe. If you have nothing for a particular post, you can just go to your caption library, find something relevant, and drop it to whatever post you're having a block on. So it's not really, like I said, it's not really required, but I really think it will help out a lot. Alright, so the primary form of content that we're going to be scheduling is micro content on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're going to be handling Twitter on Hootsuite because I love the dashboard that's on there, and then we do the media posts on Later because I love the media library that it has, and I like that it updates you saying that whether you posted the content before, and the labeling, and I can go on and on about Later. Alright, so the first thing we're going to handle is Twitter, and we're going to be doing that on Hootsuite. So the first thing you want to do is open up a notepad, whether on Mac or PC. The main reason we're doing this is because Hootsuite took out their auto scheduling feature for the free users. It's only available for premium users now, which sucks, because the auto schedule feature was the main reason I loved Hootsuite. The second reason being the dashboard, because it does a pretty good job in keeping track of the conversations. But yeah, you want to open up a notepad so you can keep track of all the tweets that you're going to put out. Alright, so the second tip is, this is where your Twitter library is really going to come into play. Grab any and all tweets that you have on there, and try to get at least 10, 20, or even 30 tweets on there, and make sure it's a mix of, inspirational tweets, call to action tweets, engagement tweets, sharing tweets, regular tweets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you watch the previous creating a Twitter library video, and just tweet vomit on this notepad, so you have a whole bunch of stuff to really schedule. Because the minimum, like I said, if you watch the previous Twitter videos, the minimum for someone who's kind of minimum active on Twitter is I think 3 to 4, I think. But if you really want to be active, you want to push it to like 8 and beyond. And considering that you can schedule this ahead of time and do it quickly, I think it's a good idea. So the next tip is, now we're going to focus on the engagement stuff. Next tip is pick the posts you want to that you want to share or that you want to engage with, and then add it on the notepad as well. The dashboard, I think, really comes into play in terms of keeping track of conversations. So what I do is I do separate little tabs of people, or separate streams of different conversations going on, whether it's people I'm following using through the lists I created on Twitter, or through Twitter search based off the topic that I'm looking for. And then from there, I look for dope tweets that I think my audience will like. I quote it instead of, I don't do an immediate retweet because it's going to send it right away, but what I do is I quote it, because what that does is it creates a link for you to be able to share it, and what you can do is copy that link and then add it to the notepad. So if none of this is making sense, or if the B-roll is going really fast, don't worry, we might be going into part 2 that kind of walks through everything. And the last step is scheduling. So now that your notepad has all the tweets that you want to send out, between the different types of tweets you created from your library and the ones that you pulled from for engagement on your dashboard, you want to go on the publisher and just start scheduling everything out according to whatever time you want. Cool. So that's that. You have a good amount of Twitter posts scheduled. Again, 3 to 4 minimum, and then max 8 to 10 a day. So, and if you have this many, you'll probably have a good week or 2 weeks worth of tweets ready to go. So next up is scheduling media posts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Just a heads up, if you're scheduling on Hootsuite or any other platform that allows scheduling on LinkedIn, video currently does not work. Directly posting it. So if you're going to post LinkedIn video, I strongly recommend that you guys upload it natively, because it's not available yet on any scheduling platform. Okay, so and whether you want to use Hootsuite and stay on Hootsuite and schedule it there, or go on later and schedule it there, it's up to you. Either way, it's the same process. All right, so this is where your content library and your caption library are really going to come together and really make things fast and smooth. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have the content ready to share, whether it's uploaded on later's media library or you have it on your desktop just ready for like a specific folder ready to be distributed. Okay, and then the next thing, if you reviewed your data, schedule them around the best times according to each platform. Remember, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all different, I'd say, like venues in a sense, so they all have different best times. So you want to take that into consideration when you're scheduling your content. Okay, then the next thing is, after you schedule it, use your caption library, obviously, to write out the best captions, or just write it out from scratch. And then, depending on your strategy that you put together, include calls to action on every 3rd post, every 9th post. Again, it depends on how often you want to do the calls to action on the strategy that you created. So that's essentially it, scheduling all your micro content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. All the micro content, probably in less than 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on how fast you do this, how much you have prepared up front. If you're not prepared up front, it's going to take a lot longer. Okay, and for beginners, if this is your first time doing this and you do have everything set up, I'd say 2 weeks worth of content for at least posting 3 times a week is good. For those of you who are intermediate, maybe once a day for 2 weeks, so that means 7 posts for 14 days. And for those of you who are a little bit more advanced, who have a lot of content, who have a huge library, you can probably go once a day for an entire month, or twice a day for a good 2 weeks. So that depends on how much you have ready up front. The way I think of this is very much like how chefs get their food ready. They don't try to get their ingredients as they're cooking. They do something called prep. So they prep their ingredients before they actually get into the process of cooking. This is the same thing with you. You're prepping your content and your captions before you get into the actual cooking of your social media. So because if you're trying to do everything all at the same time, it's gonna get taxing, because you're essentially trying to do different types of tasks, because design or creating video is a different type of mentality, writing is a different type of mentality, scheduling your content is a different type of mentality. Going back to batching, it just makes it easier if you batch similar tasks all at the same time. Alright, so the next method, which is something that I've been experimenting with and I've kind of gotten like mixed feelings about it is the set it and forget it method with Meet Edgar. You upload it and you just forget it. It's just easy as that. You set the schedule of when these pieces of content are going to be are going to be shared, and then you forget it until you get a notification to upload it, which is the part that bugs me, because I don't want to have to. I schedule these things so it can be done for me, and not for me to have to manually do it or be reminded to do it, because then sometimes I'm in the middle of a meeting and I can't do it. But for the most part, it's pretty dope in the sense, like, if you have a massive library, like say for example you have like 200 pieces of content, and imagine that those 200 pieces of content being in shuffle mode, like in perpetuity. It keeps going no matter what. So like even if you forget to post for a good 2 weeks or a month, you know, you're gonna have such a variety of content going out. It's gonna feel different as your audience grows, and what I also like about it is that you also have a variety of captions that you can add to it. So which is really why I consider this the set it and forget it method, because once your content is up there in the library and the queue or the schedule set to go, then you just continue going, and all you have to do is continue updating it. So going into the execution of it, obviously you're going to need a Meet Edgar account, and it's not a free or cheap option. It's like $50 a month that gives you like 25 total profiles in terms of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It gives you a lot. It's really not something that I recommend for someone who has 1 or 2 profiles, but for someone who's kind of managing it a lot. But if you have the cash to spare and throw at it, then go for it. Anyways, the first step that you want to do is upload all your content to the library and separate them into categories. So the thing with this is that it's not as fast as later, where you drag and drop everything and there's a bulk upload and you categorize it easily. That's what I love about later. It's very quick in terms of uploading your content library. With this, while I do like it does separate them out into categories, the process of it is a drag. Not only that, there's limitations in terms of size. Upload everything to the content library. So the second step is create a schedule on the calendar. This is something that's going to keep going. So once you say, I don't know, 11 a.m. every Monday, it's going to keep posting every 11 a.m. every Monday. Okay, and if you have a specific content you want to share on there, make sure that it's pulling from the right library. And then that's it. It's really like 2 steps. Uploading the whole content does take a while, so it might actually take 4 hours unless you're doing photos, and then that takes a lot faster. But if you have videos as well, that the upload time it is going to take time. But one of the things I love about this is once everything is uploaded, you don't have to repost, you don't have to think about seeing if you want to share this photo again. It really just does it for you. Okay, and moving forward, all you have to do is update it as needed. So if you have new content, add it to the library. Then now you have 201 pieces of content to pull from, 250, 300. Okay, so the huge pro about it when you upload new content is that it prioritizes new content and shares it first. The con is that you don't have control of the order unless you skip it. So once it's in the queue and after it's been shared as a priority, it does share the content in kind of a shuffle mode. The problem with it is that you can't change the order in the way you want. Say there's a post that you want to go before another one, you don't have that kind of control. So which is kind of one of the cons about Meet Edgar. So for those of you who want to literally put your social media on autopilot, I think Meet Edgar is a great way to go if you have the cash for it. Now, going into long form content, I prefer doing it natively because there's a lot more in-depth options that I can do. This goes for both Facebook and on YouTube. Facebook has really stepped up the game in terms of long form content and having a creator studio very similar to YouTube. So because I can start leveraging the keywords, I can start leveraging tags, leveraging a longer description. So in terms of long form content, I prefer posting and scheduling natively on Facebook and on YouTube. So now in regards to scheduling long form content on Facebook, go to the creator studio, upload it, give its proper title, give its proper tags, description, schedule it. And this is again, scheduling these long form contents will only work well if you have a lot of content up front. So you got to do a lot of the prep work and then you schedule it. So the same thing with YouTube: upload it, schedule it, give it its proper headline, do your proper keyword search, descriptions, thumbnails. This goes for both Facebook and YouTube. Really good thumbnails, and then schedule it. So since we're on the topic of long form content in terms of Facebook and YouTube, so here's a couple bonus tips on Facebook. This applies if your Facebook business page has been around for a while. So you want to go to the Creator Studio and find the best performing content that's performed, like within the past year or last 2 years or last month, and find the one that's performed best organically and then reshare it. And one of the reasons I love the Creator Studio is that you can reshare content that already has views, and then when you reshare it and schedule it for another time, it continues to build on that view count and on that engagement. It's not like you're sharing it from scratch. So one thing that I'm noticing that not a lot of people really take advantage of in YouTube is the community posts or creating updates. So this is something you got to do manually. So you essentially grab the link you want to share. You go to community updates or a status update. I'm not sure what the title is, and then from there you just do it like a regular status update. You share the link or share the photo, and then write a caption and then post. So it's one of the ways that YouTube is really trying to be more of a social media community. Up until I think last year, it's mainly been a content sharing platform. A lot of people do share their content and then they comment based off the video, but now it's more like a social media platform, a regular social media platform where someone goes on your feed or on your personal page and then they see all these updates from you. YouTube's become a little bit more of a social platform, and this is something, and these status updates are something you've got to do manually. All right, so that's essentially it in terms of setting your social media on autopilot in 4 hours or less. And if by this point of the video kind of understand conceptually of how to do this and all the B-roll makes sense, that's all you really need, and go execute. If not, and you want a more over-the-shoulder kind of view of me actually executing everything, I suggest you guys move on to part 2. So you actually see me doing everything that I just explained today. Alright guys, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Vision Paradox TV. If you guys got any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, or if you guys have any suggestions on really anything, just leave a comment down below. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up and share this with friends who you think might benefit from it. And if you guys want to stay up to date with all the content that we're sharing, make sure you hit the bell button so you guys will get notifications. Other than that, thanks for watching Vision Paradox TV, and I'll catch you guys next.